Somalia have suffered so much, but it should not be justice of revenge. Somali should find their own way to have internal reconciliation with tasamuh, the pardon, like justice and reconciliation. They can go to, once again, Article 9 of Djibouti Agreement was very clear, justice and reconciliation. Who are we to impose which kind of justice? I know we can go through Security Council and ask for a specific resolution. Though Somalia has not signed Roma Convention, Security Council can suggest it. We can have a commission of investigation. And my office was the first to talk about it. But we can also ask Somalia to have their own justice, like in Morocco, or in Peru, or Guatemala, or in South Africa, or the case is specific in Rwanda. Gatasha, yeah. So what is important is to address impunity. The way to do it, we have all to think about it. And these are very serious matters. They should not be thrown on the street like that. On clan, solution, tribe, really, I'm from a system, social system where we have tribe. I have cousins who are minister in Polisario. I was in government in Mauritania. So I have some Mauritanian whose cousins are minister in Senegal and other in Morocco. So the tribal system is not shocking me. What I don't like, what I don't understand, is manipulation to make it even ridicule. You cannot take two competent people because one of them is from the same tribe and you have to include 4.5 in it. So this is what I think, but it is up to Somali to find a way to get out of it. On peacekeeping, to me the priority is to note that Somalia, and this is your first question, want to be back in Somalia. Somalia is the only country I know of where you have no diplomatic community. UN is today 193 member states. Somalia have 2 ambassadors. One representing the Arab League and one ambassador of Libya. Both courageous men, I know them very well, we meet them often. And to tell you the truth, I feel very bad that we are all in Nairobi, no one in Somalia. I was, every time I go to Paris, London, or Washington, I complain, why don't you have a green zone? Why should we get why should we be based in Nairobi and not in Mogadishu? There is risk. We take first risk, or you close everything, you let between Somali. But if I were Somali, I would not accept exclusion. This is not religious, it's not politics. Somali is member of international community and deserve to have, for good or bad, representative of international community. It is. I don't think Somali is right compared to, is the only one right when you have 200 member states of United Nations. On peacekeeping, the same thing. To me, the priority now is how to help the government integrate its forces, security forces. And we keep telling them TFG, it could be Government of National Unity, TFG / Government of National Unity, or whatever. Deng Xiaoping from China is supposed to have said, we don't care if a cat is black or gray, as long as it catches mice. So what is important for Somalia also is to have a government who can deliver and make them proud of having a government. Thank you.
I think we'll just take 2 more questions and then we need to close for the, I'll be over there.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for being here. It's really a great honor. Like you said, I have a comment and a question, and I think you can answer the comment later on. The question later on. My comment is, like you've stated, I believe the problem we're having, it's a really Somalian issue, and unless we really have a questioning doubt, each one of us, to really see what we need to do to change the situation, it's not going to change. So that's my comment to Somalis. The question that I have is, what are the things that people in the diaspora, because there are two things for me when I look at a government or social, that really make a progress or a development, which is a human capital and the natural resource, which we both have. But for some reason, it's not working. There's a lot of people educated, intellectual, articulate, loving, but for some reason, we're not really delivering what we need to deliver. And in terms of resource, like you said, we have the highest coast the largest coast in Africa. So what are the things that, in terms of international, that you believe in Somalis we need to develop more, which is leadership, but still I would like to get more in-depth comments of individuals with the characteristic and values that are critical really to change the situation. Thank you.
I'll take one over here. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you for your good efforts you're doing for Somalia. I got two questions for you. My first question is the UN planning to help Somalia build its police force? I don't think we really need to have a peacekeeping force. My next thing is the whole world agree that Somalia is the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. Does the UN has a plan, like the one Ambassador Sahanoun did in Geneva, 100 days flooded with food and medicine to help the people?
Okay, do you want to answer those? Want to repeat the last point?
Yeah, I was in Geneva at the event where Ambassador Sahanoun invited like donor countries, and within 100 days they flooded medicine and food to help the situation.
Thank you. You see, Professor Samantar and you have mentioned this problem of leadership. You need a good leadership, but it is not unique to Somalia. It is all, I should not say all African countries. You know, in the 90s we had a terrible leadership. We still have a problem of leadership in Africa. You know, we need not only competent, but committed and caring. And this is, you know, in the 90s we're always talking about our leadership. You know, people come to power very competent. And then, because our culture, education, lack of a media, by the way, the guy become crazy. He thinks he is God. He is. And I was speaking with Obasanjo, and he told me, we were talking about, you know, our leadership in Africa, what to do. And he told me, he liked this idea of circles. And he said in the US or in Europe, for instance, the leadership is really thinking of people. Security. No, we are talking about security, leadership and security. In Europe or in the US, from what Obasanjo was telling me, the priority is security of people. Then security of the state and institution. And eventually, when the president travels, his own security. And he said in Africa we have a reverse. First, security of a president, security of a function, meaning his own function, and probably security of his family. There is a change in Africa. I think, you know, I have seen a change over the last decade. There is improvement in general. Because the media, because civil society organization, because the travel, leadership have improved in most African countries. In Somalia, I cannot make a judgment because I have been there only 15 months. It is a complex issue. First, the clan system, 4.5 and so on, excludes some people. Second, the best educated are not at hand. So, I'm not saying that power is for grab, but people who know what the budget is, what you see, in this country, in the US, I don't think it is very important to have a competent president because the institutions are competent. The institutions are good. You know, the system function. In our country, in our country, if a president is not good,
need a good president in America.
I'm not sure. No, but in Africa, if a president is not good, it is a disaster because the institutions are not functioning. Civil society, media, banking system, and so on. So, to me, the solution, there is no solution, but the beginning of a solution in Somalia is really tolerance. My perception, and I may be wrong, but I think Somali are so maximalist. They would like their president or their minister, who is just new